Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to planet Earth. A healthy and hearty Irish hello. Dermot Butterley here with the lovely Catherine Casey. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, Dermot.
Celtic Coach radio show where science, spirituality, and self-discovery meet. They hang out. People say never the twain shall meet, but today they're going to meet. All right, we got two Irish people in the studio. We got a wonderful lady who has been a friend and a mentor to me for quite a number of years. International training consultant Catherine Casey is here, everyone. Now, Catherine has been coaching, training, and teaching for over 20 years. Probably a lot more, Catherine, but we're just gonna say
that. That's fine. That's fine.
She has also implemented a coaching-based resiliency program in the Santa Clara Valley Medical Center, San Jose, which is one of the largest public hospitals in the United States. She's also pioneered the first coaching-based program in the Santa Clara County jail system and San Quentin Prison. So for the past 20 years or more, as a result of her work, thousands of inmates have been exposed to her trainings, her workshops, and her work in general. She's conducted trainings and is a trainer of trainers, programs in Belgium, Israel, Finland, Norway, Russia, many other places. Catherine's passion and vision is to reignite the resiliency and wisdom in all persons in any environment. And she currently lives up the road in San Jose. With all of that, put your virtual hands together for the lovely Catherine Casey. Catherine, hello.
Hi, Dermot.
You
shelter in place. I'm sheltered in place.
You're sheltered, and you have your admission slip. What are you drinking today? Is it tea, coffee?
French Earl Grey.
Very nice. I'm drinking green swamp juice.
Yuck.
It's they call it matcha.
Oh, matcha, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Like green tea.
I
just call it the swamp juice.
Yeah, it's good for you.
How are you, Kat? How's the big question on people's mind, Catherine, is when they heard you were coming. Do you have enough toilet roll in your house?
That's really funny. Yes, I think I'm good. I have enough toilet paper and I have enough bread. The bread is more important to me than the toilet paper.
Is it? Oh, interesting.
It really, and if we're going to set, a priority, the bread comes first and then the toilet paper. And I scored some napkins today also. So I feel
nice.
Paper towels, so I'm in good shape.
For emergency or for the bread?
I have all forms of paper.
Yeah. I just saw this video where this guy is hanging outside of this. He's hanging out on the road, and you can tell he looks like he's selling drugs. And so this guy rolls up in a car, and the guy's looking around. And the guy rolls down the window. He said, "Yeah, did Joe send you?" Yeah, Joe sent me. Okay, you got the money? Yeah. And he takes out a wad of it has to be about 10 grand. Gives it to the guy. The guy opens up his jacket and takes out 2 rolls of toilet roll. Gives it to him.
So you saw the one I sent to Shaylee, didn't you?
Oh, was that the one?
I sent her that.
That was funny. Oh my God.
That was a good one.
Why do you think there's such a roll on rolling paper on what's going on there?
Well, I find, I've been kind of watching the whole thing, and I finally realized, just listening to people and comments about it, people feel like they feel out of control. Like, I'm out of control. The worst thing's going to happen. I'm going to end up with no toilet paper. I'm going to be out on the street, and then I'm going to die. I mean, it's that extreme. But I also think people feel like, well, if there's something to do, I can get prepared. So once people think, well, if I stock up on food and toilet paper and whatever, and people are out buying guns, once they do all that, it almost gives them a relief, like, okay, I'm ready. It's a sense of, okay, now I'm okay. I've done the best I can. And it gives people some kind of comfort that somehow that will be enough to help them be okay. That's my take on it. Oh, I can't hear you.
I forgot to mention, because it's such a professional show, that the topic of our show today is uncertainty and change. And it's one of the reasons I wanted to bring bring you in, Catherine, because boy, if anyone knows anything about this, not so much the topic, but what we go through in our heads because of, like, uncertainty and change, it's not something new. Like, it's like toilet roll. It's been around for a while. That's going to be an underlying theme in the whole show. Watch what he's going to do with toilet roll. But it's been around for a while. So why is it you think people are and again, today, everyone, I want to tell you that, myself and Catherine, we like to have fun. And so we're going to take the topic seriously, but we're going to do our best not to take ourselves seriously while we're talking about the topic.
Right.
Hopefully, just because I don't want anyone throwing paper or toilet paper or bread at us, Catherine. Okay, I won't say anything more about the toilet paper for now. Why do you think people are freaking out now, Catherine, as opposed to, we've gone through uncertainty and change many, many, many times.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've come up with ways of describing it. There's one way I describe it as scarcity thinking.
Yeah.
So usually you see that a lot, like I don't have enough money, or I don't have enough time, or I don't have enough, make a list. I don't have enough of this and enough of that. And people are just so used to being in that, it's just almost like normal to have that way, that view of life. People say things like, well, when I have enough money, I'll be able to do this, this, and that. So we're all kind of living, waiting for something in the future. But when this happens, when not only am I in scarcity thinking, I wish I had more, things are disappearing. Like the shelves are empty. You get this feeling like, well, what if I don't get enough food? Normally I can just hop in my car, go grocery shopping, come home. I don't even think about it. But now, and it doesn't matter how much money you have, if it's not on the shelf, it's not there. So I think people go into more hyper kind of scarcity thinking. It's just ratcheted up more. And that's because we're making meaning about seeing an empty shelf in the store. Mm-hmm. We could look at it and go, oh, wow, that's amazing that there are empty shelves in a store. Kind of like being appreciative of it, or kind of being surprised or curious about it. And somebody else is thinking, oh, this is it for me. I'm going to starve. How am I going to survive? So two people could be looking at the same empty shelf. It's where they go in their mind in terms of the meaning they make. It's how they're using their mind in the face of what's outside of them. So to me, it's not the empty shelf that's giving me my feeling of either curious or kind of amazed or surprised or freaking out. That's not coming from the empty shelf. It's just where my mind goes in the presence of that. And most of the time we don't know that. We think it's the empty shelf that's making me feel anxious, because another day you could look at the empty shelf and look around and go, wow, this is amazing that they keep telling us there's enough food and there's enough paper products. I mean, on the TV, all the stores say, don't worry, we have enough, but you guys just need to relax. See, the grocery stores are saying, you guys we have enough. But you guys are freaking out, and that's making it harder on us to keep the supply going in an even manner. So, in fact, they're even now telling people you can only buy 2 of something. You know what I mean? There's stores are starting to manage it. But the bottom line is, it's the meaning people are making about the empty shelves, even getting the information that there's enough food, that there's enough toilet paper. So what I try to help people realize is, yes, that's really happening. That's true. There's nothing on the shelf. But your relation to that whole situation is coming from where your mind goes. And the more you kind of get a sense of that it's just that. Now, I'm not saying you should rethink it or reframe it. Okay, right. I'm in my happy place, and it's okay that there are empty. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, the world's going to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to try to see it better. I'm going to be optimistic. No.
Yeah. We're not talking about positive thinking here.
Yeah, not or being in denial also,
Right, right.
what I'm saying is really appreciate how much meaning we make of things just on a minute to minute basis every day of our lives. So just kind of seeing that. And it's funny because if you don't know you're doing it, then you don't even know to appreciate it. Now, and believe me, I went to the store this morning. The first hour of the store, they let you in. Seniors get to go in the first hour. And, they have this rule where it's 6 feet distance and all of that. Well, I walk into the store.
Do they have like a measuring? Do they measure you from?
Well, Trader Joe's is.
Yeah.
They have people in line with the 6 feet. This other store with all the seniors, we were literally on top of each other.
Yeah.
It was a friend. It was not crazy, but we were bumper to bumper with our carts. I'm standing in line to pay. The person's like, literally, there's no 6 feet between. And I'm sitting here thinking, well, so much for the social distance. So we as seniors, we've been keeping ourselves isolated. Then we go to the grocery store. We
go crazy.
And I walked out and I literally said to myself, well, I have definitely been exposed to the virus. No question. And I got into my car. I said, well, so much for that idea. And I thought, well, I could either freak out and, get nutty with my hand washing, or I could just look at it and go, okay, well, hopefully I'll be okay. But that was an interesting experience. It's just seeing all the time that we can make extreme meaning or we can be calm. And they both come from the same place. It's where our mind goes. So calm comes from our mind, and being crazy and nutty and urgent and panicky, that comes from our mind also. And that we create that innocently. So the more we, and I know if this, because people say, but Kathy, no, it is making me feel this way. This is a bad thing.
Yeah.
And I'll say, yes, it is happening. But if our minds get so bogged down, we won't have enough bandwidth to get creative, or we won't have enough bandwidth to do what's right in front of us and just take care of ourselves, or we won't have enough See, if our minds get really weighted down, then it keeps us from functioning. That's a big deal. So if you could just sense that within yourself, just notice it. Oh man, I have a lot on this, like the toilet paper thing. I have a lot on this toilet paper thing. Now, what's up with that? Isn't that kind of interesting? That is amazing. And not feeling bad about it, just kind of reflecting on it. Like, isn't this amazing? And I want every person who's on this call, think back in your life, and you've gone through something, really tough time. And then you came out from, you went through it and you came out from under it. Well, what got you through that? What gets us through tough times? And we get through it, and then we forget that we've gone through things and come out okay. We forget that happened. It's like we relive it all over again. Oh, this is it. I'm never going to make it. It's, blah, blah, blah. When actually we have come through hard times personally. We have gone through tough times as a country. We've gone through it. We've come out the other side, and then we're okay. But we forget.
Yeah.
But what is it but what got us through that? It's that deeper part of us, that calm, that clarity, that I'm okay no matter what. That's in us already. We just forget.
Yeah, I love that you said. First of all, I'm kind of giggling because we did go to the store the other day, and Shay walked in and she came back out and she says, they're only giving one thing of toilet paper with 6 in it per person. And she said, I want you to go now. I want you to go in.
Yeah.
Pretend you're not with me and I'm like, I'm not doing that.
But there's creativity, and then there is, well, come on now. But
yeah.
But that's where we go, though. We go into we don't have enough, and we're human. We're human, and now I feel like I could go outside and walk down the street, and cars going by. I want to bring a pack of toilet paper and just say, hey, you need a roll, which or the homeless folks. I mean, there's a whole situation there. That's a whole other level of catastrophe. But the bottom line is, yeah, we're human.
Yeah, I think we forget that, Catherine. I think, like, I was going to comment on that. Like, we're human, and we think, and at times we're going to have some crazy thinking, and at times our
Yep,
thinking is going to be calm. But
exactly.
what I hear you saying is that that crazy thinking is kind of like putting a big wad of mud in the water. I think we're in mud in the water right now, and
Stirred up. It's
nobody's
stirred up.
seeing anything.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But the mud will clear.
Yes, yes.
And what I hear you saying is that our minds will clear. We'll go from crazy to calm, and then we'll stir up the mud and we'll be back into crazy. But then we'll calm down again. Like, now, do we have to do something with that? Like, do we have to affirm it away, or do we have to,
No, no, no.
meditate for
No,
40 hours? I mean,
no.
I like meditation, by the way, but
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
what do we do with that?
here's the thing. I
What do we do with
think
crazy stuff?
what I would say on this call is I would tell people, reflect back in your life when you went through a struggle or a tough time, and then all of a sudden you got through it and you were okay. See, I want you to have your own reference point of what we're saying. I'm not here to convince you. I want you to see you've experienced it already in your own life since the day you were born. But we don't, I used to think I was just, like a cat has 9 lives, and I've used up 7, I've got 2 more to go, or I was in the right place at the right time, or I was just lucky. See, I attributed to my, getting through stuff as something else. And a teacher of mine said, no, that was you. That was inside of you. And I said, you're kidding me. I didn't know I had this amazing depth and resource of wisdom or well-being or clarity or whatever you want to call it. I didn't know I had it already. It's just that when my mind gets really crazy, I don't have the experience of it, but it's always been there. That innate resiliency, or the human spirit, or spiritual essence, or whatever word you want to use for it, that's in us no matter what. And it's non-contingent on anything outside of us. And that's a scientific, spiritual fact. But we have to have certainty in that. And the only thing that gets in the way of it is just what you said. We muddy the waters with too much thought. We get a tsunami wave of thought comes through, and you can't see, because when the mud is stirred up, you can't see anything. But we know when you leave the water alone, it will clear up on its own. Everything will settle to the bottom, and everything gets clear. Well, that's how our mind works. We work the exact same way.
And I think that's was that what you were talking about, where, like, what got you through it, and it is that innate resiliency that we have.
See, we think everything we're doing in our head is getting us through it.
Right. Figuring it out and making sense of it and making,
And in the corporate world, when I work with really successful people and they work really hard and doing great work, but they're profoundly exhausted, mentally drained. And what we were pointing them to is, what you're doing is this innate wisdom that you've been operating with from your own intellectual knowledge. That's been enough, but you added 20 layers of effort thinking that was needed to make things move forward. You don't need all the extra effort thinking. If you just allow your natural, intelligence with your intellectual mind, the two work together. You don't need to add 50 more layers of effort. But see, if you don't know that, then you're going to do more work we're working way too hard. And in the corporate world, man, the burnout just disappeared, because the burnout wasn't the work. It was the added layers of thought that people added to what they were doing already. Huge difference in the corporate world.
Wow. Yeah, no, I totally get that. Like, there's days that and it always it does baffle me at times, that some days, like, I'll get, like, just so much done, and I'll think, boy, I was really, I like the term calmly active and actively calm. And I was like, oh, wow, I got a really lot done today. And I was like, I had nothing on it in terms of like a lot of thinking about it.
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
was just like, okay, this is the next thing. All right, what do I need to do here? Okay, I need to do that. Okay, I need to do that. I didn't have anything like, the way we put a comma after everything when there should be a full stop? Like, here's what I need to do, full stop. But here's what I need to do, and God, if that doesn't work out, now I'm going to have to do it. And what if that doesn't work out? Well, I'll have to call that person. And what if we put a comma after everything?
You know how I describe that?
Commas.
You know how I describe what you just said? And people instantly relate to it. I say, now, how many of you, when you're doing the one thing in front of you, you have 20 things on your mind while you're doing the one thing in front of you? All of us, we all do it.
Yeah.
I call that mental multitasking.
Okay.
And see, that's where our burnout comes from. So it's the same thing now that we're in this uncertainty with all this, this virus, we're in shelter in place, and everything's shut down, and all the things we're used to just not thinking twice about, all of a sudden, it's gone. Now, the more thinking we have about it all the time, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, you're going to have more. You're going to be
You're gonna-
turbocharged multitasking
yeah.
in your head.
And it's compelling. It's like watching a car wreck. You're compelled to watch it.
Yeah.
And that's why there are times when I'm watching the news, I want to get information, but then all of a sudden it's over, and then they make music to it, and they show the 8 things going on all at once, and you're like, and then we're wondering why we're feeling that intense. Well, it's because our minds just ratcheted up.
Yeah. I don't think, Catherine, like, I'm all for being informed, but inundated, no.
Yeah.
And I don't think we do well. Like, when you talk about the mind and you talk about being humans, I don't think we were built for so much information.
I agree. I totally agree. And I'm terrible. Where I really saw this when 9/11 happened, and I was doing this work, but I couldn't stop watching it on TV. And finally, the guy I was with at the time, he said, "All right, this is it. I'm turning the TV off. You got to stop this." I said, "No, no, no." He said, "No. I'm making the decision for you. We're turning it off." And I looked at him, and I knew he was right, but I didn't want to turn it off. It was crazy. I just had to be watching every minute. The same, the planes going into, I must have watched it, 1,000 times. But it goes to show, when we get in that kind of loop, we just get in that loop, and it's almost like, well, I somehow felt like I'd be safer if I kept watching it, and that's a bizarre. Yeah, if I keep doing it, it's going to make it better for me, when actually it's doing the opposite.
Yeah, if I can get really concerned about this in my head, I'm doing something about it.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Because I see that in myself, and then I think, hang on, but the only thing I'm doing is in my head, and I'm getting exhausted in my head.
I'm going to tell one last story. I want to tell one story about that.
Please.
When my son was in college, he came home on break, and when it was time for him to go back, and when he's home with me, he was always staying with his friends, so he wasn't around all the time. So he said, "Well, Mom, I want to drive my car to school by myself." And I said, "Well, no." He said, "Well, why not?" I said, "Well, no, you can't." He said, "Mom, what do you mean I can't? I'm a grown man," and I'm like, and that's when I saw it. I said, "Okay, you can take the car." I had it tuned up for him. I did the blessing of the car before he drove off. He had 3 credit cards and the AAA card. And I thought to myself, okay, I'm not going to carry this in my mind. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to try this out. So off he went. And it's about a 6-hour drive from the Bay Area to Santa Barbara. He's going to UC Santa Barbara. So off he goes. I said, "Just call me when you get there." So I go into my day, do this, do that, come home, make dinner. And I'm sitting and reading a book. And all of a sudden, the phone rings, and I answer. It's my son. "Mom, I made it." And all of a sudden, oh, I forgot you were driving back to, I forgot. And then I had this moment of guilt, mother guilt. I'm a bad mother. I forgot.
I
I
haven't been
had this,
thinking about it 24/7.
I did. Oh, what's wrong with you? And then it hit me. Well, actually, me worrying about him would not have kept another car from cutting in front of him. Me worrying about him would not prevent him having a flat tire.
Mhm.
I saw it as clear as can be. Me worrying was not going to protect him. It really, I saw it in a flash. And so now I don't carry my son in my mind in
Right.
worry.
Yeah.
That was so freeing for me. Now, what's good is there are times when he calls me and something's happened, and it's, Mom, I was in a car accident, and he's okay, but I'm available to him. Like I'm not been worrying all this time, and then that happens, and then I get crazy. The thing is, I saw that me carrying thought about any situation or any person is not doing anything except holding me up. That was huge for me. And I love my son. I care about my son. And it made me more relaxed around him instead of, the mom mode. And as soon as he'd feel me coming at him with the mom mode, he starts rolling his eyes. Like, oh, here we go. Now I'm just there with him. And I'm not coming at him in this mom mode. And it just made our relationship totally different.
And see, what I hear in that too, Catherine, is that we do that naturally. Like, I've talked to so many people and they ask me, Dermot, what should I do? What should I do? I'm so anxious. I'm so worried. I'm so stressed. What should I do? And I think
Nothing.
nothing might be a good start. you know?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
that's hard to do. I know people that are listening go, yeah, Dermot, good. I'm stuck in the house. I've got, 3 or 4 kids, which is very, very small. It's very small. I mean, Catherine, you came from a very small Catholic Irish family of
Yeah,
11.
right. We were jammed into a small house with 10 kids.
we were only 7.
Hey,
So,
after 3, it's a crowd.
yeah,
But you know what people are forgetting, or either forgetting or not realizing, because I didn't know this until I was age 45, that we have something inside of us that will always take care of us. See, if we don't know we have that. So what I realized around my son, that God forbid something bad happen. What I realized was I have something inside of me, the human spirit, resilience, whatever you want to call it. I have that inside of me, and I know that will get me through whatever I need to get through. Once you really feel that within yourself, and I'm saying certainty, there's no exception, it's always there. Then you don't have to be in that constant, urgent worry or waiting for the other shoe to drop mode. We can be in our life, and then if something does happen, we take it as it comes. It's like what triage doctors, they go into this triage mode. They could be hanging out, playing basketball, whatever, and all of a sudden, the patients come in and they immediately go into this mode, and they take care of what they have to take care of. But they don't need to be carrying all the stress in between the patients. See, people in that field, they know about this.
mm-hmm.
They know I don't need to be carrying all the stress and worry. I know I have what I need to show up to take care of business as needed. And that's what we're all doing right now. Everybody's in triage mode, which is absolutely necessary. And I think, but that's coming from that being in the zone place. And it's amazing the creativity and what people are coming up with to deal with situations where there's a lot of uncertainty. There aren't enough supplies, medical supplies, and all these amazing people are sewing face masks now. They've put out the pattern for seamstresses to make them.
Wow.
I mean, there's so many creative things going on right now. And again, that's coming from each human being has that. And I think if we start to really appreciate that, and look in that direction, that will help us.
Yeah, you know, if you look through time, or if I look through my life, I can see that that when the poo hits the fan, that I react, and then at some point I either stay in that reaction or I start to get creative. And I think that's, you know, I hear that in what you're
Yeah.
saying. Let's go to the we had a lot of calls and emails, and we're going to go to the emails
Great.
and answer a few
Fabulous.
questions, Catherine. I'm laughing. I think I used to call that place that you're talking about my inner wisdom, but I think I'm going to call it my inner toilet roll.
Go for it.
Or I could Irishify it and call it my inner bog roll. My inner bogness. All right.
Hey, humor is a good, hey, humor helps.
It
Humor
does.
really helps.
All right. Okay, so here's a question from Karina. Says, Catherine, there are a lot of people sitting at home catastrophizing the current situation, which only adds to worry and stress. This unknown that we are entering is very scary. When the dust settles and we return to our new normal, what do you feel are some positive things that will come or may come from this experience with coronavirus?
Oh, you know, I was just speaking about this with Shaylee this morning. And you know what is amazing about this is not just, you know, the San Francisco Bay Area or wherever any of you are living. This is global. What's going on now is global.
Yeah.
It's almost like when they say we're all in this together, I mean, that really is true, regardless of what part of the world we're from or what part of the world we're living in. And I think people's level of consciousness, or people coming out of their personal, you know, stuff, and people are starting to look around and go, wow, we're all going through this. And I think our humanity and our sense of compassion is starting to come out that normally it wouldn't. It's like when 9/11 happened, it's like the whole country just came together.
Yeah.
It didn't matter what political party or what ethnic background. It's like we were all impacted together. And that's what's happening now. I mean, we're feeling what's going on in Italy or China or any other part of the world. It's like we're all human beings going through the same human experience. And to me, that's what changes. That's where change comes from. When we pop out of our own personal world and we realize we're all connected. We're all connected. We're all the same. We look different, we may think different, but as human beings, we operate the same way and we create our experiences the same way. So I think, yeah, we're all going to be up and down around this, but I think this might last a little bit longer than the 9/11 one did. People will start to have a different take on, you know, wow, I get to go to the grocery store now and buy food and be grateful, as opposed to, you know, feeling entitled that we should be able to do that, as opposed to, I am so lucky just to be able to get in my car and go buy groceries. I mean, talk about a change. That's huge. That's huge.
Yeah.
And the other thing I'm seeing, you know, how we keep talking about the homeless situation and what are we going to do? And well, because of this virus, all these solutions are coming up about how to help the homeless. They're building separate places to put them in case they are exposed, where they don't have to be out on the street. All of a sudden, we're able to get the homeless people off the street now.
Interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
And we've been grappling with this, and literally in a day, they've come up with a game plan.
Yeah.
That's because we're coming out of our own personal realities and we're starting to look at things from a global, universal, and we're all human beings and we're all connected. And so I think that'll be the upside of all of this. I mean, you know, we're still going to have struggles, but I think people will never look at things the same. It's like after World War II, there was I wasn't around for that, but people had a different appreciation during the war and then after the war. And then over time that sort of wore off. that sort of wore off. And I think we're going to have another impact. It's going to have another impact, where we'll have a wave of, looking at life in a whole different way.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you, Catherine. I'm going to
Well,
read
great
something.
question. Great question.
Yeah. Thank you for the listener for sending that in. I'm going to read a little something, and then I think we'll go to another question.
Sure, sure.
This is, I thought this was beautiful. My girlfriend shared it with me. It's from Kitty O'Meara. Well, now we have to allow some Irish on the show besides you and me, Catherine.
Sounds great.
All right, here it is. I wish I had some soft harps playing in the background, but however, my podcaster system. I don't want to say it's not working. It is working. I just don't know how to work it. All right. And the people stayed at home and read books and listened and rested and exercised and made art and played games and learned new ways of being and were still and listened more deeply. Some meditated, some prayed, some danced, some met their shadows, and the people began to think differently. And the people healed. And in the absence of people living in ignorant, dangerous, mindless, and heartless ways, the earth began to heal. And when the danger passed and the people joined together again, they grieved their losses and made new choices and dreamed new images and created new ways to live and heal the earth fully, as they had been healed. Kitty O'Meara. Not beautiful?
Fabulous. Fabulous.
And
That's what we've been talking about.
Yeah, because I think, like, my worst of times have also been my best of times. Now, I wouldn't, I've heard people say, "Oh, this coronavirus, it's such a gift," and it's like, it's not a gift that I would want to give to people, but I am inspired to get creative and share my gifts.
Yeah.
And I am inspired to come up with creative gift ideas and coaching, in the world of coaching.
Mm-hmm.
I'm inspired in that way,
Oh, to me, she's describing people's levels of consciousness are coming up.
Mm-hmm.
We're it's kind of like we're all kind of waking up, and because we're all preoccupied, everybody's within themselves, just go anywhere. People are just totally encapsulated in their minds.
Yeah.
And every now and then we poke our head, we poke out a bit.
Where's the toilet roll?
Yeah.
Where's the toilet? Where is it?
Every now and then we poke our heads out. But with this, it's like we're just awake now. And some people are more awake than others, obviously. But what I mean by that is we're starting to acknowledge that we're, again, in this together. And that's a beautiful way of her describing that. Mm-hmm. And then being at home and, people who work all the time and they're on that, constant work, and the family and the work. Well, now it's kind of like some people are out of sorts with it. Like they're not used to having this downtime.
Yeah.
People can get anxious. Like now what do I do? Yeah. Because we're so used to filling it up.
What do you say to those people, Catherine, who are sitting at home and they're just so anxious about being in the house or,
Well, the first thing I would say is let that be okay. Just allow that. That's your humanity. And if you've been running a mile a minute for most of your life and then all of a sudden you're stopping, it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard. People they'll get bored, they'll get restless. What that's indicating is our minds are still going faster than we are. When I work with kids in the criminal justice system, one day I said, so why do you guys do all this bad stuff? Like they steal cars, they do carjacking, they do this, they do that. And they would tell me about it. Like, why do you like to steal cars? Well, Kathy, it's exciting. I thought they were going to say to make money. No, It's exciting. I said, well, tell me more. What do you mean? Oh, there's nothing going on. But man, when you decide you're going to, jack a car or steal a car, man, now it's just fun. And,
they get revved up.
Yeah, they get revved up and all that. And I said, I see what's going on. So when you're just hanging out at home and you're bored, what that really means is your mind's going really fast on the inside, which is making everything look slow on the outside. And this one kid goes, "Could you say that again, please?" And I said, "Well, your minds are going really fast on the inside, which is making life look slow on the outside. That's what boredom is." So if somebody's used to constantly having stuff in their mind, all the time, whether they're doing stuff or not, it's like when all of a sudden you have to stop, your mind is still going. But with your mind going and you're not doing anything, that's where you get bored or restless or anxious. And again, just appreciate that. That's all you need. Just see that. Don't try to change it. Don't reframe it. I'm not saying that it's not good or bad. It's just how the system works. This is what's going on with you. And that's why when I used to go on vacation, I'd go to Hawaii and I would want to sleep for 2 days to decompress.
Right. Yeah.
And then start my vacation. See, people can relate to that. Like, we've got to decompress, or every night we come home and it takes 2 hours to decompress, but then we're revved up again, and then so we're on that treadmill. So now that we're shelter in place,
off the treadmill of our mind,
big time. So if you're getting antsy, bored, anxious, that's just an indicator. Your feeling state is just an indicator of that your mind is going way faster than you realize, and you have more in it. So you have a lot in it, and it's going fast. And that's all that's going on. See, if you just got a glimmer of that, that can make a huge difference.
Without having to do anything about it.
You don't have to do a thing.
Because I know there's a lot of people, like our house has never been as clean. I mean, it is clean.
I must say, I did the Clorox wipes over every handle, knob, drawer.
Yeah.
I've never done that before.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, eventually everything will be done, and you'll look around, you go, okay, now what?
Yeah.
Now what?
I dread that day, Catherine, when my house is fully organized and I've nothing else to do.
Now what do we do, right? Now, or we don't want to do it. Or we look around, we go, oh, I should be doing all this stuff since I'm home. See, we could go the other direction.
Oh, there's a lot of that going on.
And feel guilty. Yeah. Well, now that I'm home, I could be cleaning out that junk drawer, or I could be clearing out my closet. See, take your pick. But I want people to just appreciate that whatever's going on in their feeling state is not what's around them, environment, it's what's going on in their mind. 1-to-1 ratio. Whatever's in your mind, you'll feel it, you'll experience it. And that helps me. My feelings are my friend now. When I get all urgent to get more toilet paper, that means my mind is just, higher RPMs. It's not that I really need toilet paper.
Yeah. And you still go there. I mean, you're not.
Oh, are you kidding me?
In your head, right?
Of course I do.
Yeah.
Of course. And I do this for a living. But what's different for me is I don't live in it as long. See, I used to live in it and visit calm.
Right. Yeah.
Now I tend to be calm and visit, nuttiness.
Yeah. Calm is the vacation.
Yeah. So it's shifted over time. But there are times you could peel me off the ceiling.
Yeah.
Easily. But I even then I know it's me. Eventually I go, whoa, what was going on in my mind?
Yeah.
And it can sneak up on you too.
Yeah. Because I mean, whatever happens to us, coronavirus, lack of toilet paper, I mean, whatever's happening to us, it's not happening to us. It has to be happening through our head, through our thinking. Because people say, oh, why is this happening to me? And it's like, well, yeah, the fact is there's a coronavirus. The fact is that people are getting sick, and the fact is people are dying. And yes, there's a shortage of whatever it is on the shelves, blah, blah, blah. But all of that thinking about that is coming through me. It's coming through thought. It's not coming at me. And I think like that's one of the biggest things that I think to myself, is that true?
Yeah.
Because it feels so real.
Yeah. And that's where we get hoodwinked, because I use the word our understanding of how we work as a human being. Your feeling is created by your thinking. it's a scientific fact. You cannot have a feeling that comes from another person's head. Or my example is, say you have a car and you're driving your car and the engine light goes on. And so if you don't understand that you're creating your own experience, your own feeling. So your engine light goes on and I go, oh, I better tell that car over there that there's something wrong with their car because my engine light went on.
Love it. Love it.
See, no, I know, oh, if my engine light goes on, something's up under the hood of my car. It's not coming from the other car.
Mm-hmm.
See, but that's what we do. We're set up to say, well, if I'm feeling like reactive, I start thinking, oh, it's the situation, as opposed to, oh no, it's just my thinking.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful.
And see, if you don't see that, then you're at the mercy of your thinking. Then you believe everything you are making up in your mind. And that's where all that intense and anxiousness and boredom, or whatever you want to call it. But we're human, we innocently do it. But now if we could just get a glimmer and, well, wait a minute, maybe it's not the other car. Maybe it has something to do with my car. Mm-hmm. And again, not good or bad. There's nothing to do about it. It's just seeing the fact of that's what's going on.
Right. You're not saying, okay, so if you see that it's not the person and it's me, then you need to change your thinking about it in order to feel certain.
Not saying that. But you know why? Because if it takes thinking to change thinking. So the thing you want to change, like, well, if I think hard enough and have better thinking about this other person, so okay, I'm gonna think better of them. Well, you're actually making it bigger. You know,
putting more thinking on it.
Yeah, you're putting more. So you think, okay, I'm good to go, but they can feel that you really don't. You know, they can feel that you have a lot of thinking. People can tell whether you're connected to what you're saying or not. They can pick up on it.
Yeah, they'll feel that.
Yeah. As opposed to, you know, I just have a lot of thinking about this person, and I don't know why, or maybe I do know why, but I'm just going to let that be okay, and I'm going to just see it and not try to do anything with it. But the fact that you can see that it's you, that's huge.
That's huge, yeah.
Even if the person's being, you know, an idiot, or they're, you know, they're being inappropriate or whatever. For me, what gets to me is when women have their children, little babies, and they beg for food out on the street, especially in the summer. You know, Costco, they sit at the end of the parkway as people are coming out of Costco. And I get out of the car and go, this is child abuse. You should not be keeping your children. I mean, I just go off.
Yeah.
And I finally realized the last time I did it, the righteousness, right? Yeah. And, you know, I can call, you know, child protection and they could take your children. I mean, I'm like in this righteousness. And then I'm like, you know what, Kathy, you got to get off your high horse. Mm. And next time, if I see that, I'm going to go up and ask them, help me understand, why are you doing this?
Right.
And I'm going to start there now.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. I think Descartes had it wrong when he said, I think, therefore I am. I think he had it arseways, because I am, therefore I think.
But see, we do, many times we think, how do I want to say this? We do think we are our thinking.
Yeah, because it feels real, right?
It does. It feels real. Yeah. But if you really look at it and you think of all the thoughts you've had in general, that's a scary thing, because I've had thoughts of wanting to murder people.
Yeah.
You know, I've had thoughts of, you know, can I make them disappear? And thank goodness I know that was just some passing thoughts that went through. Yeah. Now, the people I worked with in prison, they didn't know it was a passing thought. They thought, well, if I have a thought I have to kill that person, guess what? They went with it.
Wow. And
when you ask them, well, why did you do that? Well, because that's what we do. And you know, once we make our mind up about that, we just go with it. And I said, so you can't just have a thought about it and let it just be that? And he goes, well, what do you mean a thought about it? I said, well, just because you have a thought doesn't mean you have to do anything with it. That was news for them.
Wow.
This guy said, I never knew that. He had a red shirt on, which means he's in for killing. So he had a red shirt. Kathy, I wouldn't be here if I knew that. I said, well, I know. And
Wow.
that's why I'm here.
What was the biggest, because you, what was the biggest fear that the prisoners had? Like it's not,
Um,
it wasn't running out of toilet paper, I'm sure, but
no. You know what it was? Because actually we asked them um, what was important to them. We didn't ask them what their fear was. We asked them, what is the most important thing for
hmm
you? And they said two things: their loved ones, the loss of their loved ones, I think would be a big fear.
yeah.
And peace of mind.
Wow. Isn't that interesting,
Peace
huh?
of mind. Yeah. The loss of peace of mind. And I was surprised, and consistently,
That is surprising, yeah.
those were the most two important things. And I said, well, what if I told you peace of mind has never left you? Because they thought they had lost it. And boy, they were looking at me like, what do you mean I've never lost it? And when I started talking about, no, nobody can take that from you. Whoa, that had a huge, when they woke up to that, that was very powerful for them, because they thought they had lost peace of mind. If they did have their family members, they usually had to threaten them to keep the connection. And it just turned the whole thing around.
Now, how is that so, Catherine? That peace of mind is all like how can peace of mind be always with me when I'm caught up in so much thinking about everything and worrying about so much stuff.
Well, I didn't know this till I was 45, so it was news to me because I was always looking in my mind to get it,
Mm-hmm.
to get what I had when I was a little kid. Like, I didn't care. We lived in the city, and we grew up in a kind of iffy neighborhood, and I didn't make meaning about that at all. I just was out having fun, with the kids on the block and playing and all that. And then as I got older, I started to look outside of myself and started to compare myself. Well, that part of me, that joy, that well-being, that lightness never left me. It's just that I started making a lot of meaning in my mind about myself and the world. So it's kind of like, Bill Pettit uses this metaphor. It's like all of a sudden the sun gets covered with a ton of clouds.
Mm.
And you think, well, we don't think that the sun is gone. We know it's still there.
Mm.
It's just that we can't see it. Well, that's how we are as human beings. Our core well-being is still there. It's just it's covered up with a lot of thought.
Right. So
A lot of thought.
thinking is the clouds.
Thinking is the clouds, and
Yeah,
we
that's
just
a great metaphor.
it and thought is like the clouds. When the first time I flew on an airplane, and I was like 17, I remember I had the window seat, and the sky's clear and it's beautiful, and all of a sudden I saw a big bank of clouds, and I thought, oh, we're going to go into it. So I held on to my seat. I was getting ready for the big, like jerk and all this, and as all of a sudden it was like nothing happened, and it was like steam. As we went through the clouds, it was like steam. And I'm like, wow, they look so solid, but yet they're steam. That's how I see thought.
Wow.
Same thing.
Let's I want to squeeze in one more
Yeah.
question from a listener, Catherine, because I think it's a very interesting question. Love to hear what you have to say on it. It's about chronophobia, which is the fear of time. So this particular listener has a fear of time.
I don't know what that means. Say more about that.
Yeah, I'll read what she
Okay,
says.
yeah.
I have a fear of time, chronophobia. It's like being swept down the drain with impending doom, or getting angry, stressed, frustrated when I'm on the clock, when I have a deadline or
Oh, got it.
I find myself overly aggravated when someone wastes my time because I can't get my time back, having intense, possibly painful feelings of nostalgia when I think to a place in time. I'm all about speaking positively and speaking things into being, but more often than not, I can be triggered into a chronophobic corner.
Yeah. That is pure state of mind.
Really? Let's say more about that now.
All right. So we have a clock.
Like
Right?
an internal clock, you mean? Or?
Yeah. No, a clock, like that measures time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we have a clock measures time. Okay. Now, and you talked about this early in our call. There are days where, you're doing your job and you look up the clock and you go, it's only 2 o'clock. We can all relate to this. You're like, you've got to be kidding me. I have 3 more hours. I mean, we all have that experience like, oh man. And then there are other days and we look up at the clock and go, wow, where did the time go? Well, when our mind is free and clear, we have the feeling we have enough time. And we're able to discern what's important. We're just in the flow. So the clock is there, but when I'm in this presence or flow, whatever you want to call it, I of course know there's a clock, but my relationship to it is light. If I get urgent or I feel like I don't have enough time, my state of mind gets constricted. So it's like, think of a telescope. When you look at, if you look the wrong way, everything looks small and narrow. Then you turn around and you go, whoa, okay. So your feeling of not having enough time or feeling like time's wasted or whatever that description was, that's an indicator that your mind is getting flooded in thought, probably going really fast. And that's what's giving you the experience. And there's nothing you can do about that. So don't even try to slow down your thinking.
Yeah, because she does ask that. She says,
No. But see that that's all it is. It has nothing to do with, and I know people have a lot on their plate. I know they have a lot to do, but your relationship to that stuff is coming through where your mind is. And that's why there are days where you take it as it comes and you're not going to get to everything, but you're okay about it. You are able to prioritize, and realize, okay, I can only do so much, and I'm going to do the best I can. And then you finish your day's work and you feel okay. And there are other days it's the direct opposite. You feel pressure, urgency, and it's the same kind of job. It's like each day is pretty much the same. So what's the variable? The variable is, where is my mind? So if I feel urgent or overwhelmed, and I'm like looking at what's in front of me and I keep thinking about it over and over again, and I have 20 things while I'm doing the one thing, and that's where that feeling's coming from. It has nothing to do with the clock. Now, that's something you have to kind of see for yourself. So I would say the next time you go into that feeling, kind of pop your head and go, oh, wait a minute. I think my mind's way ahead of me right now. See, if you could just see that, just see if you could just see that, and don't make meaning about it. Everybody on this planet does this. And people, time management. I'm going to say one last great story. I forget her name, but she made the Grey's Anatomy show. She's the director. Get her name. African-American woman, brilliant director. And she's got like 3 shows now. And somebody asked her, because she has kids, somebody asked her, and I think she's a single mom, how do you balance, you're this big time director, producer, and you've got a family. How do you balance that? And she said, well, I don't believe in balance. And I thought, oh, I'm like, I've got to hear this. Mm-hmm. She said, no, there's no such thing as balance. She said, no, here's the deal. When I just know there are times when my job is more important and I know the home front's going to be okay. And there are other times when I know the home front is important and the job thing's going to be okay. What she was describing was, when her mind is free and clear, she can tell right away where her energies need to go. See, she's able to discern it. Instead of being urgent to both, she's clear-minded enough to see, oh, the home front, it looks like they're needing me more here. And I think I can, delegate enough over here, and I can be. So she said, yeah, the balance thing is a myth. There's no such thing. She was talking about being in a state of mind, a deep knowing that she knew she had inside of herself. And obviously, because she's very successful, that she knew how to determine as needed. That was brilliant. That was brilliant.
Yeah, and I find that to be true in my life, Catherine, as I hear you saying that. Like I'll have a lot of thought about something, and then in the middle of the day, I'm doing something and I'm totally encapsulated and enwrapped in what I'm doing. And it's like I pop my head up out of it, and it's like, oh, where was all that worry I had 10 minutes ago or 20 minutes? It's like, it's kind of like, I think of it like a spotlight. It's like when I turn the spotlight on whatever it is I'm wanting to worry about, the more I keep the spotlight on it, the bigger it gets. And as soon as I kind of take the spotlight away, and it's not something I do. Okay, I need to stop thinking about that, because that doesn't work either.
No, it's a
Like
no.
I
It's a
can't stop
knowing.
myself
Yeah.
from thinking nonsense.
No. Your wisdom is guided. It's an intuitive knowing. See,
Yeah,
before we never relied on our intuition, but now you may be doing it, and all of a sudden intuitively you go, oh, wait a minute. You notice it. See, you see it. You notice, oh, I see what I'm doing. So it's not like you have to make yourself. It's just that your wisdom is recognizing it. See, when you recognize it from your wisdom, then you just easily shift. Now, if you recognize it from your head, then you try to manage it.
right.
And I want to, and sometimes you can't get out of it. And people say, but Kathy, I keep trying. I said, now, do you hear the word trying?
All right,
It's
that's
like
good.
do you know how much thought it takes to keep trying? It's like we're digging a deeper hole, as opposed to seeing it. Oh, the harder I try, it's like the quicksand thing. They say, if you get into quicksand, don't try to get out of it, just chill.
Yeah.
Of course, I've never seen or heard of anybody in quicksand, but the point is,
Throw them some toilet roll.
yeah. The point
Grab
is,
this. Oh,
but then they keep pulling, then they run out of toilet paper anyway, and then they die. Then
toilet
they just die.
paperness.
You throw the empty roll down, and then they die. But yeah, it's funny. If you could really, your feeling state is, if you could just take one thing from this call, two things. One, you have this limitless connection to the universe, energy, God, well-being, resilience. Take your pick. Life force. We have this limitless connection to that. And when we're not feeling so great, it's because the clouds have come in and it's covered up the sun. The thinking's come in and it's kind of buried that feeling, but it's still there. And your feeling state will help you recognize. See, when I'm in a good feeling, I don't need to recognize anything. It's when I go down, I want to kind of start to realize, oh, wait a minute. If I'm feeling down, it's not the situation. It's just where my mind's going about the situation.
Yeah. When my mind goes down, the uncertainty goes up, right?
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. And we're looking through the mud. I love that metaphor. We're trying to see through the muddy water, and we keep getting muddy water, and we keep thinking, well, if I look long enough, maybe I'll see something. No,
Right.
you've got to wait till the muddy water settles. But if you keep stirring up the water, if you keep overthinking everything, it's like you're stirring the mud up again, and it's going to take longer for it to come back down again, as opposed to just let it be. Let the mud slowly, and then what you have is clarity.
Yeah, because I think I know for myself, in muddy water, which we're using as a metaphor for uncertainty and change, I want to get that water as clear. If I figure if I do more, that will make the water settle quicker. And
It doesn't. No,
it
it keeps it stirred up.
yeah. That's not to say now I don't, do whatever I'm doing while the water's settling. Like I'm not hearing do nothing, like sit
No.
at home and, affirm your life.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Just do the best you can. People take a walk, read a book, but still know that basically it's your mind that's creating this, and it's your mind that's undoing it. It's your mind that's stirring it up. It's so simple. And the more we have a sense of that and we look in that direction, as opposed to if we keep looking outside of yourself, it's like, I love what you said about, well, I'm going to spend more time worrying. It's like you're gathering more evidence to support that you should be worrying.
Yeah.
Let
And
me
doing
gather more to
Yeah.
make the case that I should be really, 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 really in a bad place. Well, let me just gather more evidence, as opposed to, well, if I'm feeling low, I don't need to gather any more evidence. I'm good where I am now. We don't need to add to it.
Yeah. And I think, just if we can hang for another 5 minutes, Catherine, that'd be wonderful. In a way, I think that uncertainty is built. Even in a way, uncertainty doesn't exist, but on another level, uncertainty is built into life, because what is certain? Nothing. Like, am I going to have toilet roll today? Maybe.
Yeah.
Am I going to have it tomorrow? Is the planet going to be here? Is gravity? Like, the only thing I think that's certain is gravity. Like, I think I can trust that gravity is going to be around for a while, and maybe the sun come out.
Yeah.
But in terms of like where I'm going to be, what my life is going to be like, who I'm going to be with, who I'm not going to be with, what I'm going to be doing, what I'm not going to, like, that is all uncertain. And I think times like this, with this coronavirus, I think it's really pushing people. I don't want to say to look at that, but it's in your face that, oh boy, life really is uncertain.
Big time.
No matter what I do.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, I used to think it's all about the fear of the unknown. And I forget who wrote this. I can't remember, but they said, no, we're attached to the known. See, we're attached to the known.
Yeah.
It's not that we fear the unknown. It's just that, so as soon as you get less attached to the known, then you're good to go in the unknown.
Yeah. Because the uncertainty brings up our attachment to the known.
That's it.
Right. And we blame the uncertainty,
but
it's actually our attachment to the known.
I talked about this earlier with Shaylee. It's like, we don't know how attached we are until we don't get to have the toilet paper. For me, I had a moment where, remember the liquid bomber guy?
Yeah.
So right after that, no liquids on the plane, right?
Yeah.
And I was at an airport getting ready to fly, and everybody canceled their flights. So me and my son were the only two left, and I said, well, what the heck? Let's see if we get to fly home. We were just in Seattle. Anyway, so we walk right up to the security, the TSA thing, and they took my purse and they went through it and they took my lipstick away. Well, that did it for me.
I bet.
I fell apart. It's not a liquid. It's no, ma'am, I'm sorry, we're taking your lip. But sir, it's not and my son is, mom, come on, let's go, mom. But sir, no, really, sir, really, and I'm like doing this whole thing about my lipstick, and finally my son's kind of grabbing me by the arm. So we get to the gate, nobody's there, and I'm like, I flipped out. And of course, my concern is, well, my lips are going to get all dry. Well, guess what? I kept licking my lips.
Yeah.
Soon my lips are getting drier and drier. And it had nothing to do with I had no lipstick on. It was all the thinking. It was like the end of the world for me over lipstick. I didn't know I was that attached to just my lipstick. And after I got through it, my son kind of stayed away from me for a while. Like, oh boy, mom's having one of her little episodes. I thought, wow, it's amazing how attached we are to stuff. Mm. And I know this sounds silly, but we're attached to which side of the bed we can sleep on. We're attached to, think about all the things in your life that you're attached to. Now, I'm not saying it's bad, but now I have a whole different appreciation. And now with this toilet paper thing, we really get to see it. Yeah. How attached we are. And we have no idea how much we've had until we go through something like this.
Oh, wow. Catherine, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, yeah. We could talk about this all day.
Two Irish people, we could we got the gift of the gab. It's infinity. It's infinite. But
Oh,
I'm going to have you back on the show. We have talked about
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll do another one. We'll do another one.
Stay tuned for that, listeners.
And
If
I
you
hope this
want,
was helpful. I hope, and I know, there are times we were speaking very deeply about this, but this is, there's a lightness. See, we were designed to be light. We weren't designed to be heavy and intense. And we just need to come home again now. We just, it's there, and we just need to lighten up on ourselves and just let it be okay. We're doing the best we can.
yeah, yeah. Home is where the heart is, or home is
Sanity,
where
the
home is
toilet
where the
paper is.
toilet paper is. Take your pick, dear listeners. Take your pick. All right, you've been listening to the Celtic Coach Radio Show, where science, spirituality, and self-discovery meet. We're here every Friday from 1 to 2, and Catherine will be back on the show, and I'll let you know about that. You can go to my website at thecelticcoach.com. You go to radio show. The interview will be there, and we'll also post it on YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, and any other of those social media places. Catherine, do you want to give out an email or anything in case people want to contact you?
Oh yeah. Email's fine. My email's weird, but anyway, it's the letters UARE 100 at AOL.com.
UR100 at AOL.com. Catherine, it's been an absolute pleasure. I wish you all the best, and I look forward to chatting again.
All righty. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.